It's Wednesday, August 12th, and let's see what the Mansfield News Journal has for us today. Let's begin with today's area deaths. Anita Louise Reidlinger Hollinger, age 65 of Tiro, died unexpectedly at her home on Sunday, August 9th, following a series of short illnesses. Family and friends are welcome on Friday, August 14th from 6 p.m. until the time of the Rosary service at 7:45 p.m. at the Penwell Turner Funeral Home in Shelby. Funeral Mass will be held on Saturday, August 15th at 11:30 a.m. at Most Pure Heart of Mary Catholic Church in Shelby. Due to the current COVID-19 circumstances, both the family and the funeral home wish that everyone remains safe. Therefore, we ask that the visitors be mindful of current restrictions and pay respects appropriately and promptly without linger. Clarice Adkins Kemplin, age 79, longtime Shelby resident, died late Monday night, August 10th at Mansfield Memorial Homes. Family and friends are welcome on Thursday, August 13th from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Penwell Turner Funeral Home in Shelby, where funeral services will be held on Friday, August 14th at 10:30 a.m. Virginia E. McGrath, née Moorhead, of Mansfield, Ohio, passed away on August 9th at her winter home in Lake Wales, Florida, after a long illness. She was 86. Services will be held at 1 p.m. on Saturday, August 15th at the Hurley Chambers Funeral Home in Mansfield. Joyce Ann McGee of Belleville passed away Monday morning, August 10th, in her home surrounded by her family. A celebration of life will be held Saturday, August 15th at 1 p.m. at Lake Timberland in Bellevue. A time to continue fellowship will follow until 4 p.m. That concludes the area deaths listed in Wednesday's Mansfield News Journal. So now, let's move on to our first article. Richland County issues a call for poll workers by Monroe Trombley. With less than 100 days until Election Day, the Richland County Board of Elections is urging people to become poll workers. In a survey sent to experienced poll workers, many of whom tend to be older and more at risk for contracting the novel coronavirus, about 1 in 4 indicated they plan to sit this election out, largely due to concerns about the pandemic. We really expect that to increase as the date of the election nears, says Paulette Hankins, director of the Richland County Board of Elections, in an interview. Last March, for example, when we planned on having the election on March 17th, a lot of the older poll workers would call in and say they really wanted to work, but their kids talked them out of it. If the pandemic surges more, we'll naturally have a lot more cancellations, she added. Even in a normal year, we probably have 35 to 45 cancellations each year the week preceding the election. I know it's going to be higher this year. Hankins would like to see 100 people sign up for poll worker training. We're really trying to recruit a lot of extras and hopefully some of the younger age groups that aren't so at risk as our normal poll workers are, Hankins said. In its press release, the Board of Elections said some area schools will permit an excused absence to work the school polls. The Ohio Supreme Court also issued an order last month allowing attorneys to receive required continuing legal education credit for serving as poll workers. Hankins hopes enough people sign up so additional workers can be stationed at all 33 of the county's polling locations. They'll enforce social distancing, help with traffic flow, and help clean each station's touchscreen voting units, voter access cards, and styluses. There are a few training sessions in early October. Applicants must be a registered voter in Richland County and cannot have a felony conviction on their record. Interested people may call the Richland County Board of Elections at 419-774-5530 or email the board office at boardofelections@richlandcountyohio.gov. And a letter will be sent to them outlining the specifics, including the pay for working the polls, the pay for training classes, and the class dates and times. With few signs of the novel coronavirus is fading, many voters in Ohio may opt to mail their ballots. Staff at Board of Elections in Ohio are allowed to open absentee ballots ahead of November 3rd and begin counting votes. Results may not be available election night due to an anticipated influx of people voting by mail. Now, we don't see any results. They're not tabulated as far as the votes, Hankins said. The Ohio Controlling Board in June authorized Secretary of State Frank LaRose to send absentee ballot request forms to 7.8 million registered voters in the state. But you don't have to wait. You can ask the Richland County Board of Elections for an application right now, or download one from the website. This article is titled Protesters Criticize Mansfield City Council by Monroe Trombley. 1 week after Mansfield City Council voted down a resolution that would have declared racism a public health crisis in Richland County's largest city, a small group of demonstrators gathered Tuesday to voice their dissatisfaction, with some referring to the decision as a slap in the face to the black community. They shouted shame towards Council President Cliff Mears, who cast the tie-breaking vote to sink the non-binding resolution, which had gained the support of Richland Public Health. As he made his way towards the front doors of the Richland County Courthouse, Latonia Palmer, who organized Tuesday's rally, walked alongside Mears, asking the Republican to explain his vote. He declined to speak to her and went inside. The protests, which later moved to the sidewalk outside the city municipal building, started outside the courthouse so that it would coincide with the Richland County Commissioners' regular Tuesday meeting. Compared to other county commissioners in Ohio, Palmer said, Richland County Commissioners Marilyn John, Tony Vero, and Darrell Banks have been publicly silent on the issue of racial inequality, given the renewed national conversation in the wake of George Floyd's killing. As a person that sits on the county commissioners' meetings, I am suspecting that they're not taking the black community's interests at hand, she said. Vero said in a statement that it was the first time he's heard of Palmer's concerns. Commissioner John and myself met with community leaders at the Richland Area Chamber, which included Deanna West Torrance, Executive Director, NECIC, and Pastor Aaron Williams, Maddox Memorial, COGIC, Vero said. We want to find actual, tangible solutions to racial inequality. It will not be easy, nor will it happen overnight. We certainly realize it will take more than just discussion. As we collaboratively determine what those solutions are, we will act to accomplish them. Palmer, an activist who fondly recalls participating in protests as a young girl with her mom, has organized other rallies in Mansfield, such as an honorary run for Ahmaud Arbery, a 25-year-old black man from Georgia who was shot and killed in February after being pursued by 2 armed white men. Palmer, who is black, felt disbelief and anger as council, which conducted its meeting last week on Zoom, rejected the resolution. I've compared Mansfield to other cities. They're declaring it, acknowledging that it's a crisis and putting steps in place to do something about it. It's almost as if Mansfield is rotten to the core, just like the book says, she said, referring to a book written by Martin Yant. As she spoke, a white man shouted expletives, "You," as he drove past. There was a honk or two of support. Council's 5-4 vote came even after the legislative body unanimously agreed to changing the language of the non-binding resolution, which declares Council's strong belief that systemic racism, not race, causes health disparity among those being high rated of homeless, incarceration, poor education, health issues, including mental health, and economic hardship for communities of color. It had also requested the Board of Richland Public Health to participate in the creation of a task force, an effort that is still moving forward, according to nearly 12 women who have led the charge. The amended version was presented by First Ward Councilwoman Laura Burns, who then voted against the resolution along with at-large Councilman David Falquette. 3rd Ward Councilman John Van Harlingen, and 5th Ward Councilman Jason Lawrence. Whatever the wording of the resolution, the concept was clear, Kathy Goldman said. By not endorsing it, silence is acceptance, and they affirmatively accept it. 2nd Ward Councilwoman Cheryl Meyer, 4th Ward Councilman Alamar Davenport, at-large Councilman Phil Scott, and 6th Ward Councilwoman Jean Taddy, who sponsored the resolution, voted in favor of it. At least 17 Ohio cities and counties have declared racism a public health crisis in some form, according to the American Public Health Association. Local LGBTQ activist Joshua Kohler said council had the chance to make a statement of recognition to Mansfield's Black and minority communities. Instead of slapping down systemic racism, they chose to be a part of the systemic racism system in Mansfield, he said. I'm not saying they're racist, but when presented with facts and evidence of the contrary, they chose not to acknowledge it, and that is a slap in the face of the Black community. Some of that evidence Kohler refers to is included in a report conducted by the North End Community Improvement Collaborative, the NECIC, which concluded that Blacks in Richland County are struggling significantly. The report found that Blacks have low rates of home ownership and educational attainment in Richland County, in addition to the fact that a large majority of the county's Black residents reside in a census tract in Mansfield's North End that has a median household income of $23,911, which is far below the county's income of $44,138 and the city's average income of $34,219. Kohler, who is white and identifies as gay, serves on the Richland County Democratic Party Central Committee. As a recently elected official here, I think it's important that people in government and people that are elected to serve the community show that they recognize and see every single person that lives in the community, he said. And when the community says, this is what's happening and these are the disparities we are experiencing, and people in government say, well, that's really not a problem here, I think that's a serious problem, and I think it's a slap in the face to those people. They ignore facts that were presented in the NCCIC report, added Amy Elizabeth. You can't look at that and say, oh my God, there's no existence of racism. Moving on to something a little lighter. Five Guys grand opening August 17th in Ontario by Lou Whitmire. Five Guys Burgers and Fries will have its grand opening Monday at 994 North Lexington Spring Mills Road. Richard Beal, CFO of Wholesome Enterprises, a franchisee of Five Guys, Tuesday said the restaurant is hiring 35 people and is looking forward to opening along the busy retail corridor. The Five Guys restaurant is known for its freshly made burgers, hot dogs, fries, and milkshakes. Their fresh, made-to-order hamburgers and fresh cut fries fried in peanut oil, Beal said, adding the beef is never frozen. The colorful diner atmosphere can be seen from the doorway, where the sign announces the business is opening August 17th. Beal said he's aware that the opening is much awaited since the property changed hands along the way to the restaurant opening here. The restaurant will be open 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. 7 days a week and offer inside dining, curbside pickup, and online third-party delivery service through DoorDash. He said many local residents have come to eat at the Worcester location of Five Guys, and he is happy that they can open in Ontario. We were looking for a long time, and we are thrilled and excited to be there, Beal said. Crystal Green, who heads up fundraising efforts for Five Guys, such as Dine and Donate, said she looks forward to working with the community and can be reached at cgreen@wholesomeburger.com. The strip mall, just north of Lowe's Home Improvement, always is busy with the recent opening of Panda Express, which offers a drive-through. Ontario Mayor Randy Hutchinson said everyone is excited to welcome Five Guys to town. He said the neighboring business, Pulp Juice and Smoothie Bar also is expected to open soon. The former Ocean Buffet restaurant was torn down at the site to make way for the new Plaza Strip Mall. Bell said the company is looking forward to supporting the local community and feeding the community, and invited everyone to come out and support a small business. Beal will be on hand for the grand opening. Up next, Belleville flooding fixes not been cost effective by Al Lawrence. A preliminary flood hazard mitigation study conducted by a consulting engineering firm in Columbus for the Muskingum Watershed Conservancy District has determined that 4 possible major projects aimed at reducing flooding in Belleville are not economically reasonable. A report from EMH&T Incorporated that was presented to area officials on August 3rd showed that the costs outweighed the benefits for all 4 options. According to Richland County Commissioner Darrell Banks, who served as Belleville mayor for 9 years before he was elected commissioner in November 2016, the potential solutions include buying flood-prone businesses and homes in the floodplain between Ogle Street and Belleville North Road and relocating the occupants, building a levee and flood wall system starting at the sewage treatment plant near the school and running to the railroad bridge over the Clear Fork, replacing the Main Street Bridge and replacing the Main Street Bridge and replacing and building up the road, creating a dry dam retention area in the Clear Fork watershed upstream from Belleville. Banks said the proposal to buy and replace flood-prone buildings would have included an ice cream stand, a bar, and a small shopping center as well as houses, while a levee would change the looks of the village and the bridge replacement would cause flooding in other areas in order to protect the people south of the Richland B&O Trail. No one wants to do those 3 projects, even if there is a cost benefit, he added. The EMH&T report says the estimated cost of the property purchase would be $13.6 million, with a $9.6 million value for buildings that no longer would be in the flood inundation area. The bridge replacement option would cost around $25.6 million, with a $9.6 million savings for buildings that no longer would be flooded. The levee system carries an estimated $51 million price tag and only a $4.4 million benefit, while a dry dam would cost $36.5 million with only a $3.4 million benefit. According to federal regulations, the cost to benefit ratio should be at least 1-to-1. Banks said the latest analysis was conducted after the Muskingum Watershed Conservancy District Conservancy Court, which governs the agency, agreed in 2015 to reestablish the Clear Fork Subdistrict following a series of floods, including ones in 2007, 2011, and 2013. The Conservancy District contacted the U.S. Geological Survey, which developed detailed hydrologic and hydrologic models for the Clear Fork watershed using accumulated gauge records and a detailed aerial topographic survey of the area along the Clear Fork. EMH&T used the models to evaluate possible flood mitigation solutions. Banks said flooding in Belleville used to be mostly confined to the area between the current bike trail and Ohio 97, when the railroad tracks used to serve as a sort of levee. However, he said he feels the problem worsened when the B&O Railroad abandoned the line and the rails, ties, and embankments were taken out. That took out 2 or 3 feet of protection, so we had more houses getting flooded than we ever did before, Banks explained. The railroad protected us from flooding, and we lost that. Banks said a project contracted by the Ohio Department of Transportation while he was mayor cleared a large sandbar and vegetation in the area of the Clear Fork under and around the Blue Main Street Bridge. He said that type of work needs to be done on a regular basis. If we kept that cleaned out, that will reduce the chances of a flood quite a bit, Banks said. It's not going to prevent the real major one, the 500-year or the 100-year, but it will reduce the smaller flooding that we frequently get in Belleville. Belleville Mayor Terry Brankus said officials asked ODOT when it repainted the bridge if the creek bed work could be done again, but were told the agency would not be able to at that time. She said Village Administrator Larry Wyrick currently is filling out the paperwork to see if the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers in Huntington, West Virginia will give approval for the work to be done. The Corps oversees waterway-related issues in the region. The game plan is to get rid of the sandbar and work on the Cedar Fork area to slow down the water from there, Brankus said. 2/3 of the flow into Bellevue is coming from Cedar Fork. Brankus also would like to find a way to retain the gauges on the Cedar Fork and at the bridge, which costs about $35,000 to maintain. Another project would be to clear out trees that have fallen, particularly in the area of B&O Trail Bridge, which contribute to the flooding. We need to find out how we can keep the monitor gauge at the Blue Ridge because it's not in the budget. We're just a small municipality, Brankus said, but it's helpful to the businesses on the north side of the bridge, and residents can have an app on their phones too. Tough choices. Our next article, man charged with OVI following Ohio 314 crash, by Monroe Trombley. A man was arrested Sunday following a head-on crash. Shane Strom, of 26, of Shelby, has been charged with driving under the influence, according to Jack Beck, a trooper with the Mansfield Post of the Ohio Highway Patrol. Beck and Strom was cited for moving left of center while traveling south on Ohio 314 in a 2015 Toyota RAV4, striking a 2010 Dodge Ram pickup that was traveling north. The pickup, which was driven by James Chipman, 70, of Shelby, overturned and came to a rest on the side of the road. Chipman was taken to Avita, Ontario Hospital by Springfield Township Fire Department for non-life-threatening injuries, according to Beck. Strom suffered minor injuries. Ohio 314, north of Snodgrass Road, was closed for at least an hour and a half, Beck said. And up next, Buckeye Village, Where the Manager Knows Your Name, by Lou Whitmire. The general manager of the Buckeye Village Apartments knows by name every college student who lives on the property. Melissa Miller said she makes it her business to look out for the students, many of who are living on their own for the first time and attending the Ohio State University Mansfield North Central State College for the most part. We do cleanliness checks to make sure students are doing their dishes and taking out the trash, she said. I end up being a lot of the kids' moms. I love this job, said Miller from her OSU-themed office adjacent to the apartment's clubhouse. The majority of students who live at the apartment complex, which is privately owned, hail from the Cleveland area. Students renting apartments have included those who attend OSU-M, NCSC, Ashland University, and Ashland University School of Nursing. The complex last year began renting to regular residents. Miller said the students and residential renters are separated as much as possible. Miller, who has been the general manager of the property since 2018, said move-in day is August 22nd, but will include other dates to allow for social distancing for new students, returning college students, and more. The complex, which is a 10-minute walk for those students attending the Ohio State University North Central State College, has 72 apartments with 378 bedrooms total. So, based on fair housing laws, we could house up to 556 people. With student housing and COVID-19 restrictions, we are only housing one student per bedroom, with no double occupancy rooms like we have done in the past, Miller said. The novel coronavirus pandemic has affected the Buckeye Village Apartments, with many colleges offering online courses. We have 278 bedrooms total, and this year so far, we have rented 128 students, she said. The property, which opened in 2016, offers many amenities, including a clubhouse that includes 5 large-screen TVs, free popcorn and coffee daily, but not offered during COVID-19, 2 computers with a free printing station, a pool table, and a ping pong table, as well as a karaoke machine. Amenities also include a fitness center, sand volleyball, and basketball courts. There is a paved, lighted walking bike trail that leads to the OSUM NCSC campus. We're more of a community that offers 4 events per month, including game night, resume writing sessions, cornhole parties, pizza parties, Taco Tuesday, wing night, waffle Wednesdays, and Halloween porch decorating contests, Miller said. With COVID-19, events will be a little different as the staff cannot prepare food for the students. As you can tell, a lot of our events involved food because these are college kids and they like free food, she said. Students build a community among themselves here, he said. Because of the clubhouse, there is always a lot of interaction, not just with roommates. We encourage that so the students are not lonely away from home and everyone gets to know one another, Miller said. She said Buckeye Village staff also work with OSU Mansfield to coordinate some events with them. Of course, in the past, the events have centered also around free food, she said. We all have a lot of fun, and by the time the year is up, I personally feel like I have 150 kids that I am sending off to the next school, and I am always sad to see them go, she said. Miller, who lives in Shelby, is never far away from the students, working in her office daily 5 days a week and some Saturdays. She said she tells all the students that this is college and she wants them to have a good time. I don't want you to live in the library, but when you think this is going to be a frat house, you and I are going to have problems, and most everyone is very respectful of that, she says. We love our jobs and our complex and residents and want everyone here to feel like they truly have a home away from home and feel happy to be here. The residents are the reason why we do what we do, Miller said. Rent for students start at $615 a month per bedroom, which includes water, trash, cable, high-speed internet, and electricity. Student apartments come completely furnished with a sofa, oversized chair, TV stand, and coffee table. Appliances include a dishwasher, microwave, and a full-size washer and dryer. The dining area includes a table and 4 chairs, and each bedroom has its open bathroom and walk-in closet, a full-size bed, desk, chair, and dresser. Residential apartments for non-college students start at $985 a month, plus electricity per usage. Campus Advantage, or CA, the property management company for Buckeye Village, is a leader in the student housing industry and manages 64 other properties in 25 cities across the United States, Miller said. Now it's time for local briefs. The Junior Fair King and Queen are crowned. Corey Meyer of Shelby and Natalie Snyder of Shiloh are the 2020 Richland County Junior Fair King and Queen. Myers is a member of the Country Kids 4-H and Shelby FFA, while Snyder is a member of the Richland County Wranglers 4-H and Plymouth FFA. The first runner-up to the Queen was Susan Grube of Shiloh. Second runner-up was Thalia Kurtzman of Mansfield. Food Pantry on Saturday. The Mount Sinai Baptist Church in Mansfield will have its monthly Food Pantry Day, sponsored by the Cleveland Food Bank, from 1 to 3 p.m. Saturday. The church is at 275 Grace Street. All food is free and is open to the public. All that is required is identification. Social distancing will be enforced. This is the 5th consecutive year for this ministry, which is offered every 3rd Saturday year-round. The Gallion Historical Society announces new fall hours. The Gallion Historical Society at 201 South Union Street has announced its fall hours. The offices will be open Wednesday from 1 to 4 p.m. Other times are available by appointment. Staff can be reached by email at gallionhistory@gmail.com or by leaving a message at 419-468-9338. Upcoming meetings. The Shelby Finance and Personnel Committee will meet at 3:30 p.m. on Thursday at 5 Water Street in Shelby. Police calls, my favorite. Dollar General, 1193 Park Avenue West. 2 men were arrested after an employee reported one of them attempting to steal items from the store. Officers stopped the vehicle and a passenger said he stole a belt. A scale with residue was found on the floorboard where the passenger was sitting. The driver was found to have an active warrant, and both men were taken to jail. 700 block of King Street. 3 adults were contacted by officers Monday after they were staying in a condemned house and were told to leave by August 1st. They thought they had till August 31st to be out. A codes and permit representative said that was incorrect. A man was found to have an active warrant out of Shelby Police Department as well as a felony warrant out of Huron Police Department. The others were given until 5 p.m. to vacate. Well, friends, this concludes the reading of the Mansfield News Journal for Wednesday, August the 12th. This is Pam. Please stay in if you can. Be safe, be blessed, and make it a great day.